This is our thoughts on The Jungle Book. Hey, you're not Rob.
What? What's up? I have no idea what's going on at all.
This is Chris. A lot of you may know him from Cinema Sins, and he just happened to be in town, and Rob couldn't make the movie tonight, so he stepped in, and I said he wants to see Jungle Book. He said, hell yeah!
That's right.
That's right, so excited! And I also can't find our usual camera, so if the sound sounds weird or this looks weird, that's why. But you don't need that kind of great sound or video quality for this. It's The Jungle Book, and I guess before we talk about what we think about it, we should probably set up, like, just our thoughts on The Jungle Book in general, like, just the previous movies and book and stuff like that. I'm a huge fan of the book, like, love the book. I think it's like a masterpiece, it's a classic, it's wonderful. The cartoon movie, the Disney anime movie, I think is okay, you know, which gets a lot of people thinking I hate it. I really don't. It's fine. It's not the book, but it's fine. It's a cute little movie. And then, of course, there's, the 1993 classic from the director of The Mummy?
Yeah, and Jason Scott Lee is the titular, whatever.
Clearly the best version. That was pretty stupid.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the cartoon?
I like the cartoon, okay? It's not something that I go back to and watch all the time or anything. I haven't read the book, but from what you've described, the book sounds awesome.
Yeah,
so,
and I love the Chuck Jones animated short on the book, which is very good. Strangely enough, the most faithful adaptation so far. Which brings us to this movie. And what's it at now? 94% on Rotten Tomatoes? Yeah.
Yeah.
And, if you're looking to just drop off your kid for an hour and a half and just show him something harmless, got a few thrills and, some cute animals, it's fine. If you're looking for a good Jungle Book movie, this sucks.
94%, you're only hurting yourselves, American critics. I mean...
What am I missing? When we were done, I'm just sitting here. Neither of us had that much interest in seeing it, you know, but it's like, but 94%, Jesus!
It's insane. It's like it's supposed to be the Goodfellas of kids movies. Yeah.
So I'm like, wow, okay, maybe they got the good adaptation. I mean, okay, they can't do the full book, I know, but maybe they combined the two and it really, really worked out. And when it was done, I just looked at you, I'm like, did you like this?
Yeah. Main problem for me is there's no real connection to the characters at all.
None!
The whole main reason for this story to go on and everything, for Mowgli to go back to the place where he was raised and everything, is the death of a character that I didn't care about.
Yeah, and you barely see, and so obviously there's going to be some changes from from the cartoon and from the book, which is fine. Nothing is better. Nothing is better than the animated film. Nothing is better than the book. So I had no idea why this existed. You know, even with that Cinderella remake that definitely had problems, it's like some stuff I'm like, no, that's better than the animated movie. You know, the prince was more developed. It was visually interesting. They tried to change some things up that helped, and other things weren't. So it's like, I get it. I get why to retell it. With this, I mean, you have a phenomenal story just given to you on a silver platter with the book. And even if not, I mean, the story you're trying to tell, if I didn't know The Jungle Book, like the animated movie or the book or anything, like, I wouldn't have a connection to anybody in this. You don't even see how they find Mowgli until, like, the halfway point?
Yeah.
He's just running through the woods, Bagheera comes out, they do that stupid thing, like, from the early 90s where it's like, oh no, he's being chased. Oh, they were just playing. It's that kind of movie. That's like 30 years old.
Yeah.
That trick.
Yeah.
And you see it coming a mile away, but it's like, okay, maybe it gets better, but it's like, this kid, you just start off, he's with these wolves, and you just accept it, and, you don't find out where he came from until halfway. Kaa hypnotizes him to remember. strange thing to do to your food.
Yeah. Which, of course, leads to the Deus Ex Machina of, Baloo showing up out of nowhere. Because instead of just killing him, it's like, well, let's wait long enough for somebody to come and save you. That'd be good enough.
Why the hell doesn't that bear eat Mowgli?
Yeah, right. Why doesn't all those animals eat them?
And that's a huge problem. There is no reason for these animals to like Mowgli. In both the book and the cartoon, they show them have a connection. They show him as a baby, and it's one of those things where it's just he's so helpless and he's so strange and he's so not going to harm anyone. They're curious by it and they're intrigued. There's none of that. Hell, he's not even a baby. He's like a toddler.
Yeah.
When he comes to him.
And he's just walking through the woods, and Bagheera's like, "Oh, there's somebody I'd like to bring back to the place where I live." And
no. Apparently Bagheera raised him, even though there's a wolf mother. And, yeah. So none of that makes sense.
Right. Of course, I'm going to be the cynical one here. I mean, and you're gonna follow along because you're gonna play along because you're gonna know exactly where I'm going with. The reason why we keep seeing these movies is because Disney has a huge roster of animated movies that they want to repurpose to a younger generation over and over and over again. We will see one day probably a Little Mermaid that's live action. We'll see Lion King live action someday.
I think we did. Half the scenes in this movie are from Lion King. The wilderness chase. Even at the end you see a feline falling into a pit of fire. I'm like, this is all Lion King.
Right, I know. I hate those little precious terms that they give, like, the red flower or whatever. Like, they know all these English terms and everything, but they're like, the fire? It's the red flower,
Well, and the funny thing, again, and because that is something that's from the book, but the book definitely has this sense of, like, they call him the man cub. It's like they don't have boy, they have man cub. So you sort of get, like, they have this language, but you get why they would name it this thing. If you saw fire, I mean, they would be, but... Yeah, they even tried to sort of complicate that too, because they're like, Mowgli's like, do you have a language to like something, either a monkey or something, which even then, King Louie has a language, but the rest of the monkeys don't.
Yeah, they're just chittering.
Thank God they just happen to speak the same language as the wolves.
Yeah.
And
you haven't even gotten to the cowbell yet.
Yes! Oh my God! So Christopher Walken is King Louie in this, as a lot of you know, surprisingly doing an okay job. I'm actually like, I'm kind of buying this. This is actually okay. And then there's two are you fucking kidding me moments. I mean, just huge are you fucking kidding me. One is that as soon as the kid goes into this temple, there's all these little treasures. One of them is a cowbell. He picks up the cowbell, rings it, and that summons King Louie.
That happened in the movie.
No, but even that's not the weirdest fucking thing. So, okay, so this movie, it's not a musical, there's no songs. The most is that Baloo's like, oh, don't you ever sing? I have this song, The Bare Necessities. It's just a little song they hum to each other. It's fine. It's like if we sing, it's like, you ever hear this song? Yeah. Christopher Walken is King Louie. Out of nowhere, he's talking. He's really aggressive. He's telling, I want the red flower. Don't you see? Don't you see? I want to be like you. I want to walk like you. Talk like you. And it's like, where did this come from? What the hell is going on? Because he was like this actually kind of intimidating presence.
Yeah.
You know, like this big dark thing in the shadows, and even the face kind of looks like Walken.
Right.
He has these eyes, and it's like, it's like, I could squash you if I wanted, and he sings this dumbass song.
And then, of course, he's chasing after Mowgli, and he's like, you know what? I can smash this temple down while I do that. I didn't understand that either.
He destroys his home.
Yeah.
Presumably dies.
Right, yeah. Suffocated by the rocks. Yeah, it is.
So, okay, I'm trying to think if there's like... Shere Khan makes no sense.
Yeah, right.
Because again, you can tell they're trying to combine the book and the movie, which is like, a noble idea. I get it's like, you want to try to combine the two to get these two, and sometimes they'll have a line from the book, like the Law of the Jungle, the Red Flower, and stuff like that. But there's all these things where it's like the animated Jungle Book which I now have this phenomenal appreciation for, much more than I ever did, it was kind of doing its own thing, and it's different from the book, and that's fine. It's not going to be the book, but it's charming, it's cute, it's got good characters, you know, and Shere Khan is intimidating, and you get why he's chasing Mowgli. He's like, he likes the hunt, and he hates man, you know, he won't listen to reason, he just sees man. It's like, I want to get that, he's just got all this power. In the book, he's this thug, he's like Suge Knight.
Yeah,
it's like he's got intelligence, but he's mostly a thug.
Yeah.
And he slowly manipulates them over time, to get this man cub, because he's not going to the man village, he's staying. So he's slowly manipulating everybody to his side over time, and it's just so smart. And because he's afraid what he's going to grow up, what he's going to become, and he's also, like in this, he's killed the family, so he wants to get him as well. So it makes sense. Here, they're trying to combine the two. They're trying to make him sophisticated and charming, but also this brute. So the plan makes sense.
Yeah, well...
like, none.
Right, like, how does this tiger go into a den of wolves and a lot of other, like, dangerous, scary animals, and just says, I'm gonna rule this place just because I said so, and I'm a tiger. That's pretty much what it is, and I never understood that. Like, if you're a bunch of wolves, you're not gonna let a tiger come in and be like, I'm gonna tell you what's what.
Yeah, he's holding the wolves hostage. It's just, what?
Yeah.
And he's like, but he's gone. He's out of here. What do you care? I want him dead.
Yeah, and
it's
he's like,
why?
Mowgli's gonna hear this story and he's gonna come back. Like, his whole plan is predicated on Mowgli hearing the story later, somehow.
And he does, both somehow Bagheera gets knocked out, says, fuck Mowgli, I'm gonna go back to the wolves, sees what's going on there. Oh, maybe I should go after Mowgli again. This all happens off screen because he knows about the death of Caleb, who's like, they don't even make it clear if it's his father or just the ruler of the pack or whatever. And then, King Louie somehow knows.
Yeah, he's got ears all over the forest, but like who in that... It would have had to have been somebody at his original village who came out, like, maybe it was like insects or something.
Do the wolves talk to the monkeys?
Yeah.
They don't seem to have the same language.
Yeah. It's one of those movies where it basically relies on you to think back on your nostalgia to understand everything. Like, oh, well, I know this story, so like everything in here that doesn't make sense, well, I'll just fill in the gaps with all my nostalgia and everything.
It reminded me a little bit of, maybe a strange comparison, I don't know. It reminds me a bit of Batman versus Superman. It's like, here's these things that you recognize, but they're not in here for the right reasons.
Yeah.
We're not putting it in with the character behind it, with the purpose behind it. We're just putting it in because you recognize it. And it's a mix of both the anime movie and the book, but they're missing the importance of both, because with the exception of maybe Bill Murray gets a few laughs.
Yep.
I mean... But I still probably wouldn't say I, would like him more than like the animated Baloo. I mean, him and the boy in that had a much bigger connection. In this one, they knew each other less than a day, and he's doing the stupid, get out of here, I don't want to see you, I was never your friend, and then like Mowgli runs away, oh God, what have I done? It needed to be done, Baloo, now let him climb that tree and mope and let him get kidnapped, we'll just stay down here for some reason, and then he's like, oh, if anything happens to that kid, I'll never forgive myself, and it's just, you feel no connection between these two.
Yeah.
And it's...
I feel like the whole finale is too long too. The whole...
Again, makes no sense.
No sense at all.
I think it's okay to give this away a little bit. I mean, we won't go into too much detail, but he gets this torch, he gets the fire, accidentally sets the jungle on fire.
Yeah.
Just with these little sparks falling from this torch, it's like, okay, it's,
They didn't even have like
jungle.
a lingering shot of him running and it like seeing the start of the fire.
Yeah, I think you just see like a spark fall, and you just see on the ground, like, that's it. You don't see anything flicker or anything, and it's just like, he comes with this fire to fight Shere Khan, and he's like, oh, they don't fear me, they fear you now. Turn around, and just the whole jungle's on fire. It's like, wait a minute, what time span did that happen?
And somehow, some way, during the battle at the end, nobody gangs up on Shere Khan. It's always one-on-one battles. It's first let's have Baloo do it, and then and let's have one of the wolves do it, and then Bagheera will do it, and then it's like, really just to set up this whole Mowgli goes into the woods and traps the tiger or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it's something where it's like both the animated film and the book were they're very clear in their worlds, and they were just like, the animated film didn't have as much structure, but it's fine. It's the jungle. It's a road trip. You're coming across these creatures and stuff. The book had a lot of structure, and they followed it, very hardcore. I mean, like the law of the jungle, they go into great detail what the law of the jungle is, why it is, and that's why at first I thought maybe they were doing it because they were doing this weird thing about Peace Rock and stuff that was really confusing, but I'm like, okay, I'll kind of see where they're going with it, and it's like, just all the rules and laws, they just kind of chuck out the window because this dumbass tiger is like, no, my house. Why? Just my house. I got the motivation of Lex Luthor from Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
I'm just a dick.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Right.
God.
Yeah. So was there anything good about this movie? I would say visually it looks pretty good. I still think the CGI in this took me out of it a little bit a few times.
I was very impressed how much you are right. There's several times where it's like, okay, well that's fake. Those aren't there. Those are. I was very impressed how many times I was taking it seriously though, and almost believing they were there. Like with Baloo especially. Felt very legitimately there.
And there's a scene where Mowgli, who, by the way, this kid actor is pretty good to probably have been in a room nothing but green screen the whole time, interacting with, just people yelling at him probably and stuff like that. But there is a scene with him touching the wolf's, his mom.
Yeah, it really
looks like he's touching. Yeah, it's really good. And Bill Murray, like you said, has some laughs here and there.
And I can't think of any performances that are like quote unquote bad, but Scarlett Johansson is Ka.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Right?
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just seemed like, it's like, okay, she does fine and she looks kind of cool, but it's like, well, that was Scarlett Johansson as Ka, that was Christopher Walken as King Louie, that was Bill Murray as Baloo.
It's basically where The Simpsons started going, where it was like, look at all these guest stars that we got to be in our, be in our cartoon. They're playing themselves. Isn't that great?
Yeah, I think it's a good. I think you nailed it. It's not characters. You're seeing guest stars.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fine. I mean, there's not like anything super distracting. They're just, you don't make a connection with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's, where I think the book really had story and the animated film had character. This one has neither. And it's trying to combine these two, and it's missing what elements should have been at the center, what should have been the most important. And, I don't get it. I don't get 94%.
I don't either.
Really
I feel the same way I did about Cinderella when it came out. It
Yeah, because that got like a ton of
huge rave reviews, and
that at least I can understand a touch more.
Right.
Because at least, like I say, at least there's some things that were better than the original.
Yeah.
And different even. They were like, oh, this was better, but it's like nothing here seemed like. I can't see anyone watching this being like, oh god, that was so much better than the animated film, and that was so much better than the book.
Right, it's about time this came out. This is really necessary to our, our existence.
Yeah,
right now, this movie comes out.
I don't get what it furthered. I really don't get what this brought to us that we didn't see before. That just, like you said, needed to be discovered. And like I said, as a fan of the book, it pisses me off because there is something you can discover, and Andy Serkis is making this movie right now. He's making a film that's going to stick closer to the book, and I'm really not one of those people that goes nuts about, like, it's different from the source material. It's like, it's fine if it works. The animated film did work.
Mm-hmm.
And this one just doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because there's this wonderful story right there waiting to be used, and maybe Serkis will bring it to the limelight, but it's a shame. Or maybe it's not, because maybe, I think maybe we do need to step away from the Disney Jungle Book a bit, and so we can get this different one. And maybe Andy Serkis's one could suck, who knows?
Yeah,
could be awful, but, it's just, I think it's more because the technology on some of these creatures like Baloo and sometimes Bagheera and stuff, does... I'd argue even more than half the time, looks really legitimately impressive. It's a shame. It's like, oh, we can't get that in something that really deserves it. We're just gonna sort of do this very half-assed script. I think that's the biggest problem. You know, even the boy, there's times where I'm like, well, why would the boy say that? Why would he do this? Why would he? But it's like, it's not his fault. I mean, it's just not a good script.
Yeah.
You know, and you have so little to work with. And like you said, when you're mostly looking at probably tennis balls on, you know, sticks, I mean, he does a damn good job.
Right. Oddly enough, though, coming out of this tonight, the thing I'm coming out with is I'm actually interested in this Andy Serkis version
I am
now.
so interested. I haven't seen a thing about it, but as soon as I heard there's an Andy Serkis movie being directed by him, it's going to be closer to the book. I am so excited for
The first time I heard about this, I was like, really? There's another Jungle Book? This is terrible. But when you told me about the book, and you obviously have a passion about it and everything, and that he's following it and everything, I actually want to see it now.
Yeah. Well, if you want good build-up for it, you and the people watching at home, go see the Chuck Jones animated short. I think it's called Mowgli's Brothers. That's actually the original name of the story. The Jungle Book is actually a collection of stories. It has no budget, you know, and it's clearly repeated animation, and it's only one voice actor doing the whole thing, but the voice actor is Rowdy McDowell.
Yeah.
And he's, you know, that's a powerhouse actor, and, you know, it's Chuck Jones, that's a powerhouse animator, and it's Rudyard Kipling, a powerhouse writer, and it's just like, you know, it can be cheap, but it's like, good God, it sticks with you.
Yeah.
And that's just something I don't think anyone that sees this film, it's not going to stick with anyone.
No, it really isn't. It's going to be forgotten about, you know, a year later.
Yeah, I think, like, people can watch it and enjoy it fine. Like I said, I mean, there's nothing offensive in it.
No.
I don't think it's too scary for kids or anything
Well,
like that.
no, it does. I did hear some gasps in this auditorium,
Yeah.
a little bit, a few times. Although, I mean, it does try to get to that, like, shock, the surprise, like, attacks and stuff
Yeah,
like
there's
that.
one or two boos.
Yeah.
And for the most part, they're pretty well laid out.
Yeah. But that's another thing. That was another thing about that Akira death or whatever. It's just like, it's like, I don't know this character very well, and then Shere Khan kills him, and it's like, well, did he die or did he not? I couldn't really tell.
guess he did.
You know, so anyway.
But yeah, it's that's our thoughts on it. Like I said, I don't think is it like the worst movie I've ever seen? No, it's just something where it's like, I really love the source material. It's, to me, what I think to a lot of you people like Batman vs. Superman was. Like, this is the, I'm never gonna see my Death of Superman, you know, movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm never gonna see my Jungle Book movie, but maybe I will. I don't know.
Right.
But no, it's not the worst thing ever. It's just very forgettable, very unnecessary to do it this way. And, yeah, but if you want to just go in, see cute little bears and Bill Murray talking and, you know, a few little runs and jumps.
Yeah,
I mean, you'll get it. But, yeah, if you're looking for Jungle Book, no.
Yeah.
No, nothing beneficial from Jungle Book is here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, guys, that's about it. And I at least will see you later.
Yeah.
Take care.